All right, Ben Bateman, Black Hollywood Live, talking to Sam Liu, and I really want to talk to you about Spurs basketball. No, I'm just kidding. But I like your hat, though. I'm an NBA fan.
Spurs.
Are you a big NBA guy?
Yes. As a fan, obviously, I can't play worth a lick, but yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So your film, Batman and Harley Quinn, obviously it's taking a character that has been all over the place over the course of the last year and a half. Has your treatment of the character, Harley, do you think been heavily influenced by Margot Robbie, or do you try to separate yourself from it completely?
You know, I mean, I think questions like that are interesting, because like a lot of times, if we do sort of a adaptation of a famous graphic novel, a lot of times, we'll get into like peripheral things of like, whether history, blah, 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 things like that, right? But a lot of times when I get a script or a story, I'm just trying to find, like, at the core, what is this story trying to be? Yeah. And so I'm trying to just honor the story and like the characterizations and like, what is the goals of these characters? Who are they? What are their fallibilities? Things like that. So I don't know if I necessarily we were, because obviously this is more of the pure sort of inception, the Bruce Timm version of Harley, whereas I feel like Margot was more sort of like it was an adaptation of it almost, you know what I mean? Because it's changed so much, Right. And also I think just inherently there's things that you can kind of do in cartoons that are sort of different than in live action kind of thing.
Absolutely. Obviously, as somebody who has dealt with the Batman character a lot and has done a wonderful job, I saw Killing Joke last year and loved it. Do you remember the first Batman comic you ever read?
The first Batman comic I read? Wow.
Putting you on the spot here, so.
Yeah, because I can't even remember the name of it, but I think it was a thing where he was fighting the Wraith, which I think like it was like sort of what Mask of the Phantasm sort of was sort of loosely based off of.
Totally.
I think that was the first one, at least that I remember. I mean, outside of things like the Killing Joke,
Yeah. Are there any stories that you've read that you adore and you absolutely are just like, someday that's the Batman story I'm going to tell? Whether or not I'm able to yet, I don't know.
This is going to be like the worst thing to say, but I feel like I haven't read a comic in like a very, very long time.
Me neither, but I love them.
Yeah. And so most of the things that I feel like I've loved have already sort of been made. But I think the problem with that also is just like so many of these really iconic stories have been mined, by whether it's Christopher Nolan or through, so there are already sort of elements of the classic Batman stories in like most of these movies already. So I remember doing Year One, where I was just like, wow, like a lot of this is already sort of taken, so they're not really surprising, you know what I mean? And then, and so I don't know, it's difficult, you know what I mean? Because it's like it's always tough updating something that's so iconic because people kind of already know the story, if that makes sense.
Year One is my all-time favorite Batman comic. In fact, it may be my all-time favorite comic. Period.
Oh yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Congratulations.